not have him?
And I think this is a lesson for all our fans out there, and even ourselves, particularly me, and what Russ was saying, Captain was saying in the first half is sometimes you go for goals and you're like, well, if I'm going to spend money, I've got to spend it up top or in midfield. I try and always get quite a cheap defence, but really what it's showing us is you should be investing in your defence as well. You need there's one or two that are worth the money as well.
Absolutely.
Do you know something though? He's actually done himself worse off last season in terms of points per minute played. He played 200 minutes this season and got 210 points. Last year he got a massive 185 points, so only 25 less, and only played about 2/3 of the minutes, 2,400 minutes. So
wow, that's a great stat.
Oh, I mean, there you go, Trent. You've won the award, but points per minute, mate. I'd be disappointed if I was him. Okay. Moving on. Letdown of the season is our next award. Biggest letdown of the season. Captain Russ.
I have to go for Mr. Harry Kane. Even though he started to wake up like last season.
He was injured, in all fairness to him.
He was, but like even when he wasn't injured, he may as well have been injured. He was useless.
Fair, didn't he?
Yeah.
Harry Kane's been thrown in. Rikki
got in the way. It's just like it was just a mess. Kept tripping over his chin. Just all over. I would regard him as like a pretty clever player. He's like instinctive. He knows he's in the right place at the right time. But I think like this season, whether it be injury or age, he's just lost that like second. And I think it makes such a huge difference. He's just not there at the right time. And yeah, he was, for me, being a Spurs fan as well, he was a big, big disappointment.
And we can tell you're a Spurs fan because the passion that you give when I'm asking for one nomination, and you give us an Oscar speech about why Harry Kane has been the worst. That is only the passion that comes from a fan, and I like it.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to pick him for next season, though.
No, Beavis, though. Beavis is up for the award of letdown of the season. Rikki, Pellegrini, have you got anyone to add, or do you agree with Beavis?
There was one that I was like ranting on about earlier on in our podcast kick-off days, early in the season, is Pepe from Arsenal. He's scored one more point than Mark Noble, and that says a lot. Considering the season that West Ham have had, and Mark Noble's got 1 point less than Pepe for Arsenal, spent all that money.
Pepe was really expensive. He was like 11 million.
Exactly. He can't shoot. He still can't shoot, mate. I'm still convinced he can't shoot. I don't know whether he was supposed to play another sport or something, but the lad can't shoot. He's playing for Arsenal, got a good attacking lineup, and just doesn't do it for me. So I think big waste of money.
Yeah, I mean, don't be too harsh on him, mate. They can't all shoot as well as us. But Pepe, he's up there. Pepe and Kane have been nominated. NVD, I'm going to you. Have you got anyone to add or anyone you agree with?
I definitely agree with Kane, to be honest. I think kind of one player who he's had an all right season, but just kind of then has just dropped off a cliff is Maddison. I mean, I think it probably goes a little bit hand in hand with Leicester's season, but, and we've spoken about him numerous times on the poddy, but started so brightly, got a lot of assists, goals as well, and then that's it. Just kind of wasn't even heard of halfway through the season. That's it.
Good shot.
Yeah, definitely. I blame it on Rebecca.
Rebecca and Colleen, it's all their fault, right?
Yeah.
Menage a trois.
The three nominations we've had thus far: Harry Kane, Pepe,
Maddison,
Patrick Vieira. Who do you have for us, or who do you agree with?
I agree with Kane being let down, but another one who had a pretty bad season in general was Sterling for like the mid-half.
Oh, I really agree with that.
Baby Raheem.
Yeah. But overall, I think my vote's for Kane.
You see, the funny thing with Baby Raheem, in my opinion, is he really did have a bit of a letdown season, but he seems to have got quite a few points because he scored heavily in a few games.
Yeah.
And that lack of consistency makes him a letdown.
Yeah. He started off well and ended pretty well. But in between was pretty bad. Surprisingly,
I'm actually surprised to read that he's actually the 7th best player in FPL this season. Again, under the radar, but he wasn't consistent. So he was a letdown.
How many goals was he away from the Golden Boot in the end? How many goals was he away from that?
I think he's probably about 4 or 5. He wasn't that far. He wasn't that far away.
That's what I mean. Even though he was a letdown, he wasn't that far behind.
I think because we're comparing him to past seasons. Past seasons he was in like top 2 or 3, probably top 3, wasn't he? Last few seasons, sort of up there with Salah and De Bruyne.
Yeah, he kind of was quiet, wasn't he, for most of the the mid-season? And I suppose the reason why he was so close to the top is Vardy just kind of tailed off as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. Sean John McGinn fanboy. Anyone else to add?
I would say Leicester. I would say Tottenham as well. I think the whole Tottenham team they didn't have a bad finish in the end, but the points in terms of fantasy weren't really there. But I can't say the whole team, and I don't want to single out Kane. So I'm going to go with John McGinn. 84 points, He
was injured.
He got injured. It was unfortunate. Still, he shouldn't have got injured.
yeah.
He's meant to put his kilt on and get back on the pitch.
I don't think those birds agree with you, mate. They're like making
Barbados birds are up in arms about the...
They're massive McGinn fans. You walk around here and they've all got written on their tits, McGinn. All the birds in the
Guys, the one player that I was really expecting massive things from this season was Raheem Sterling. And I know we said he comes 7th, so it's difficult to give him the award, but it was the inconsistency for me. And that's why I would vote for Sterling. But that's my vote. Vieira, who are you voting for?
Kane.
Sean John McGinn fanboy?
I think it has to be Kane overall.
Kane. Pellers?
Kane.
There's 3 for Kane. Let's NBD go to Sterling. It's going to Kane.
Sorry, it's got to be Kane. Oh, Harry, useless.
Beavis.
And we all know Captain Russ has gone for Kane. Congratulations, Harry Kane. You are
the official left back in the changing room.
Left
player of the year 1920 is Harry Kane.
The crowd are going wild. Okay. Listeners, that leaves us with 4 awards left to give out, and we're going to go and fire through these very quickly. Haircut of the season.
What a
It's got to be Todd Cantwell, hasn't it?
What a perm.
Got to be the perm.
What a perm. Don't even need to say his name, just what a perm.
From the first week we saw him, those locks were just flowing golden.
Does anyone...
New Boys Norwich.
Does anyone think David Luiz gives him a challenge?
Nah.
David Luiz does not have the conditioner, shampoo.
Grealish has got a
Nice.
Anyone that models himself on Sideshow Bob?
No one's got the L'Oreal look like
No one's got
Cantwell.
Todd
Cantwell's going to get a lot of
what a perm.
lot of promotional opportunities. What a perm.
I think we can just call that one there, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've heard that he's been signed up to Tesco Value for their new range of hair products next season. So, well, Cantwell has won the award.
The official left back in the changing room haircut of the year for season 19 and 20 goes to Todd Cantwell.
Hey, well done.
This team won something this year.
Okay, gents, an award that is close to Pella's heart. It's the best of the rest. This is for anyone who supports a team outside of the top 5 or 6. So Pella's. Who was the best player in the best of the rest? So from position 10 downwards, best of the rest.
I would say outside the top 4 teams, I would give it to Wolves. I think Wolves were a solid team. Very consistent. Jimenez obviously showed up again. He sort of snuck under the radar a little bit because he weren't really in everyone's team. Weren't scoring week in, week out. He just would get the 1 or 2 goals here and there. Just was consistent. So Wolves don't score a lot of goals, but I would say out of him and Traore, they were just really leading that line this season.
So Jimenez in there for the best of the rest. NVD, anyone to add or remove?
Yeah. Well, Arsenal came in 8th this season. Weren't exactly spectacular, but one player further who was standout was Aubameyang. He was on fire. He got 205 points. He was in the top 6 for FPL players. It was close for the Golden Boot. Yeah, he was brilliant. We all expected him. He's a natural goal scorer, but in a poor Arsenal team, he stood out.
Will he be at Arsenal next season? And in all fairness, though, also outside of fantasy, he won them the FA Cup.
Yeah.
He's now going to be a midfielder next season as well, which is interesting.
Really?
Really?
He's been downgraded. Yeah, he's been switched to a midfielder. 12
goals from Pellegrini. You've been writing letters again.
In the old, Pep. I was emailing Pep at the weekend, and him and Klopp were just giving me the lowdown to watch out for Aubameyang. But because you've now got to choose out of Aubameyang, Salah, and De Bruyne. All those expensive. He's in the midfield bracket.
I'm gobsmacked by that. That's crazy. The guy's clearly a striker.
Well, yeah, he's been playing on the left wing, didn't he? Since Arteta came in, technically he was sort of playing him on the left wing. And that's true, but he was sort of doing the whole switch. With Lacazette, he would switch. And then
front three, though, isn't he? He's the left wing of a front three. Let's be honest.
You could argue that with Salah and Mane, couldn't you, as well? Really, you could argue that they're not really,
Gentlemen, we must get to the next. Best of the rest. We've had Aubameyang thrown into the mix. We've had Jimenez from Rikki Pellegrini. Sean John McGinn fanboy. Best of the rest. Anyone to add?
I have to agree with Pellegrini here. I have to single out Wolves. Just what a season they've had. Although they finished 7th, doesn't sound like a remarkable season, but they've been consistent. They've been good, and they were really picked out from Spurs on goal difference. And really, the leader of the pack has been Jimenez. 194 points. 8.5 million. I think he's value and done well for himself.
Perfect. Patrick Vieira.
Again, I'd probably agree with Wolves. The only other team that I guess I'd shout out is Sheffield United, because they usually did have a good defence. You could
they did really well.
Defenders like Stephen
in the Premier League. They weren't expected to finish so high.
Right.
Definitely.
So yeah, maybe Stevens from Sheffield United.
Great shout.
Mr. Captain Russ. He's got the wine out.
Here we go.
He's going to toast the best of the rest.
The best of the, I think. Can I say Ings? Like, I think he was. I know he's been mentioned many times before, but I think he was outstanding. I think considering like Southampton weren't, it's not a pretty it's not a really rated team, and he was definitely someone that you should have on your team. And I think next season it'll be the same.
Great shout. So rounding out best of rest, I've got one more to add. Yes, I don't like the way he wears his shin pad and socks combo. But Jack Grealish, for me, playing in a fairly mediocre team and really, excuse the pun, pulled the socks up and actually led them to keeping them in the Premier League. Without him, they would have been gone.
Yeah.
So I think I've got to shout out Jack Grealish. So there you go, best of the rest. There's a few to choose from. There's Jack Grealish, there's Danny Ings, Jimenez, Aubameyang, and Stevens from Sheffield United. So they're the 5. Who are we all going with? Mr. Captain Russ. Who are you going with? Who are you going to choose out of that?
I'll go for Ings. I think Ings for me.
One vote for Ings. NVD?
Yeah, I think you can't look past Danny Wings, the season he's had.
He's up for 2 awards here, boys. This could be his second. He's romping it. Golden Globes. Rikki Pellegrini, what do you think?
You know what? I'm actually on the fence between Ings and Grealish, because I kind of, since you said Grealish, I'm like, he's hard to ignore as well. But I think if I have to choose, I have to go Danny Wings.
Going Danny Wings. That's 3 for Danny Wings. I'm personally going for Aubameyang, because I think that he's so many points. I think he's brilliant. So 3-1. Sean John McGinn fanboy.
I want to stick with Jimenez, so I think Danny Wings takes it as the winner.
Danny Wings has taken the award, but Patrick Vieira, I'm interested to see what you were going to say.
I was going to say Jimenez too, but I'll come to peer pressure and say Ings.
Oh, damn it. I should have kept it for Jimenez. Damn it.
Ings has won it.
I changed my mind.
The official left back in the changing room. Best of the rest. 2019-20 goes to Danny Ings.
Danny Wings.
Woo!
He is romping it. He's coming down the red carpet. Look at the way he's strutting.
Loved it.
That's a second from Danny Wings. Guys.
He's on the whiskies.
Definitely on the whiskies. I'm there with him.
Can't wait to the after
awards left, gents. There's 2 awards left. We've got the post-COVID star of the season, which is up next, and then a fan favourite has come in, Rambolino of the season. We've had a number of votes for Rambolino of the season. That will be the final award. Prior to that, post-COVID star of the season. So this is the award for the player that has been the best player, in your opinion, after the resumption of the season post-COVID. Sean, John McGinn fanboy, looking at you first for your nomination.
I think it has to go to United player, and Fernandez is the obvious, but then someone Martial probably got more points, so I'm going to go Martial.
Anthony Martial, like it. Rikki Pellegrini?
I'm going to go straight for who I'm going to vote for as well. I think we've got to say Antonio.